Welcome back. It's time for 11 Fitness, and Kelly Wilchinski, Fitness Director of the Maryland Athletic Club Harbor East, is joining us with some nutritional tips this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So with Thanksgiving coming up, there's a lot of things that people need to keep in mind, especially when it comes to what to eat, sort of what not to eat, and how much.
Right, definitely. So 75 to 80% of weight loss is based on your nutrition. So no matter what you do in the gym, you can end up not seeing results if you're not eating properly. But then people have the question is, what is proper nutrition and how do you really define that? So I'm going to kind of explain what you'd eat at each meal, how frequently you're eating, how much protein you need, and then how many calories you need. All these things are extremely important in weight loss and staying healthy through the holidays.
All right, let's start with protein.
Yes.
Yeah, your fish, chicken, ground turkey, steak, all of that. How much should we be eating per meal?
For women, it's going to be anywhere from 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass. Now, that's hard for some people to understand. What does that mean? I can get on the scale, but I don't necessarily know what my lean body mass is. So two ways to find that out would be to use a Tanita scale, which is at we do have that at the MAC, Harbor East, Timonium, and Hunt Valley.
That sounds really intimidating.
It is. It's a little scary, but as long as you are looking at your lean mass and not focusing on anything else, it's really important in coming up with a nutrition plan.
Are there some general rules when it comes to the protein?
There are. You want to have it at every meal for sure, and make sure you're getting it enough each day, and that'll help keep you in the right calorie range as well. And it'll also prevent you from getting hungry unnecessarily.
Okay, so when you talk about eating enough, that's where that Tanita scale comes in, to know how much you're supposed to be eating.
Correct.
What's another way to figure that out?
We also have the bod pod. That's actually the most accurate way of testing your body composition, and it will actually give you the exact number of calories you should be consuming each day.
What is that?
The bod pod is, it's a pod. It's basically an air chamber. So you're not in a dunk tank like they used to do. That was the most accurate way of testing body composition, but a little scary for most. So it actually just measures the displacement of air very simply, and it takes about 2 minutes, a little bit less than that. And the bod pod does travel around in Baltimore. You can look it up at bfittest.com.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, so when it comes to carbohydrates, what should we be thinking about?
A lot of people are afraid of carbohydrates, and I definitely don't want you to be. Even starchy carbohydrates are okay and actually can be beneficial. They prevent cravings, and they prevent you from feeling that drunk feeling when you're really hungry. Although people who do eat too many carbohydrates or starchy carbohydrates specifically, as you do cut down, you may have some changes within your body. So it may take a few days to get used to.
And these are examples on the screen of the type of carbohydrates that we should be eating, and it's really not a bad idea. No, I've heard you say in the past to add a carbohydrate almost with every meal.
Correct. So at every meal, typically you'd be eating every 3 to 3.5 hours. You would have a lean protein, a starchy carb, and a fibrous carb. And what that portion would look like would be just the palm of your hand or the size of your fist when you make a fist. And everybody's is a little bit different size, of course, because, you know, children, adults, it's going to be a little bit different portion. So that's your starting point, and you can play around with that a little bit. Your starchy carbs, I would never say to go beyond that. Some people may prefer to have less starchy carbs. For example, people with diabetes are going to keep that a lot lower, and then they'll increase their fibrous carbs.
Okay, so fibrous carbs, that would get into the vegetable range. And so let's talk about vegetables. Some of the vegetables that would help you burn more fat, perhaps, or just the better ones to choose.
Definitely. So you really can't go wrong with vegetables. However, there are some vegetables that people think are fibrous carbs, and they're actually starchy carbs. And depending on the list that you're looking at, some of those might be corn, carrots. They are higher in sugar and maybe not your best choices. Correct.
So the broccoli, the asparagus, the lettuce there, those would be more the fibrous carbs.
Exactly, yes. And carrots are good too, just higher in sugar. And we'll touch on sugar in a minute.
Do you want to add fat into your diet? So there are essential fats that you say to add. We know that like avocados, for instance, that's sort of the good fat.
Correct. So most lean proteins, if you are eating meat, will have some fat. Now, if you're going to eliminate the starchy carb, that's when it's going to be really important to add something like olive oil or avocado to add the healthy fats in with the meal. If you're having a meal that is high starch, you do want to stay away from adding extra fat. The meals that are high starch and high fat tend to be less beneficial.
We've heard so much about water. Drink your 8 glasses of water a day, but you say drink 10 glasses of water a day.
Let's go with, this makes it a little bit easier. Let's have 1 ounce of water per pound of body weight per day.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That makes it easy.
That makes it different for a person. That's a lot of water. Now, can you play around with that? Definitely.
Okay, and drink it before and after your workout?
Oh, definitely. Before, after, during workouts. If you're thirsty, you've waited too long.
All right.
Ultimately, you should never be thirsty.
There's an ugly truth about alcohol.
Yes.
Go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, so a lot of my clients, they're at a sticking point. They've reached a plateau, and then we find that they feel that having a glass of wine with dinner is okay, and that it meets their calorie requirements, or it's within their calorie requirements.
Or their allotted points.
Yeah,
in the day.
there you go. And be careful, careful with that. But yeah, so alcohol is your body's preferred energy source. So unfortunately, once you start drinking alcohol, we're sitting here burning fat. But if I were to have a mimosa, because it's morning, then my fat burning would stop and my body would burn the alcohol. And so if I have many drinks, of course that's going to take however many hours that takes to process the alcohol.
And then you also say it's the toxins. The toxins will go right into your muscles after a workout.
Correct.
Right. We have to go, unfortunately. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Please stay with us. Mary has another look at your weekend forecast when we come back. But first, here's Lester Holt and Erica Hill with a look at what's coming up on the Today Show.